Imagine waking up tomorrow without your head. Impossible, right? But for a cockroach, losing its head does not mean instant death. A cockroach can survive for days, sometimes around a week or longer after decapitation. That sounds impossible because humans need the brain to control breathing, blood pressure, and almost everything. But cockroaches breathe through tiny openings along their body. They do not need their mouth or head to take in oxygen. Their blood pressure is also very low, so they do not bleed out the way a human would. And while their head contains a brain, many basic movements are controlled by nerve clusters spread throughout the body. So why does it eventually die? Not because it suddenly realizes it has no head, it dies because it cannot drink water, eat food, or avoid infection. Disturbing, but the cockroach is only the beginning. Every winter in parts of North America, a small frog does something that looks exactly like death. The wood frog allows much of the water in its body to freeze. Its heart stops. Its breathing stops. Blood stops circulating. If you found one in winter, you could think it was a frozen corpse. But it is not dead. Before freezing becomes fatal, the frog's liver releases huge amounts of glucose into its body. That glucose acts like a natural antifreeze. It protects cells by reducing the damage caused when ice forms. Then, when spring arrives and temperatures rise, the frog slowly thaws. Its heart starts beating again. Blood begins moving, and it wakes up. Humans can survive cold, but only within a narrow limit. The wood frog survives by temporarily shutting down almost every visible sign of life. It does not fight winter. It waits for winter to end. What if your body could constantly replace old cells before they became a problem? That is close to what happens in the Hydra. A Hydra is a tiny freshwater animal with a tube-shaped body and tentacles. It does not have a brain like ours. It is only a few millimeters long. But it has something scientists find fascinating. Some Hydra species show almost no normal biological aging in laboratory conditions. Animals become more likely to die as they grow older. Their cells get damaged, tissues weaken, and the body becomes less able to repair itself. Hydras appear to keep renewing their cells using stem cell systems. In some studies, their death rate did not rise with age in the usual way. That does not make them truly immortal. They can still be eaten, infected, but while humans slowly wear out, the Hydra may simply keep replacing itself. Most mammals, including humans, need oxygen constantly. Without it, brain cells begin getting damaged within minutes. But the naked mole rat lives underground in crowded tunnels where oxygen levels can become dangerously low. When oxygen drops, its body can slow down dramatically. Its heart rate and metabolism reduce, helping it conserve energy. In extremely low oxygen conditions, it can also use a different biochemical pathway involving fructose, giving some tissues another way to keep producing energy. This matters because the human brain is extremely vulnerable when oxygen disappears. The naked mole rat's body is built for an environment that would make most mammals panic at the cellular level. It is not invincible. It can still die if conditions are too severe or last too long. But while we see low oxygen as an emergency, the naked mole rat sees it as part of daily life underground. Now imagine being cut in half, and instead of dying, both halves begin rebuilding. That is what some Planarian flatworms can do. Planarians are small freshwater worms, but inside their bodies are special adult stem cells called neoblasts. These cells can become many different types of tissue, muscle, nerves, even parts of the brain. If a Planarian is cut in the right place, the head section can regrow a tail, and the tail section can regrow a head. But there is something even stranger. The new head can rebuild a working brain with memories and behavior patterns that help the worm move, feed, and react to its environment. Not every tiny fragment becomes a complete worm, but compared with most animals, their repairability is extraordinary. For a Planarian, losing part of its body is not always the end. It can be the beginning of a rebuild. If the cockroach is hard to kill, the tardigrade is nature's survival expert. Tardigrades are often called water bears because of the way they walk. Under normal conditions, they need water like other tiny animals, but when their environment becomes deadly, many species can enter a survival mode called a tun state. They lose most of the water from their bodies. Their metabolism drops to an almost undetectable level. They become inactive, almost like a living pause button. In this state, different species can survive severe dehydration, freezing intense pressure and radiation levels that would destroy most life. Some have even survived exposure to the vacuum of space for limited periods, but only while dormant, not while actively living there. Tardigrade is not magical. It survives because it knows when to stop functioning normally and protect itself until conditions improve. Most animals have one direction in life: young, adult, old, then death. But the immortal jellyfish can sometimes go backward. When it is injured, starving, or under extreme stress, it can transform from an adult jellyfish back into an earlier stage of life called a polyp. Think of it like a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar. Not exactly the same process, but the same shocking idea. This happens through a process where cells change roles and reorganize into a new life stage. Once it becomes a polyp again, it can grow into an adult jellyfish again. That is why people call it the immortal jellyfish. But the name is misleading, as it also eventually dies. Still, when most animals reach the end, this jellyfish may sometimes press biological rewind.